Hello everybody, it's Awesome Guy, and I got a new iPod Touch, so I gave the old one to my grandpa, but anyway, he let me do a video on it, so today I'm going to be comparing the iPod Touch 16 gigabyte model, which is 5th generation, versus the iPod Touch 5th generation 32 gigabyte model in blue. Okay, if the first things you notice is that, well, this is a very obvious thing, and this one comes in a different color. Now, that's obvious. But anyway, this one's available in like 5 colors, and this is only available in like 1. But now there are more colors in the 16 gigabytes, but the big differences are that if you look on the back, you'll see that the iPod Touch 32 gigabyte and 64 has a rear-facing camera, while the 16 gigabyte has no rear-facing camera at all. They both have a FaceTime camera, and another thing you'll notice is that there is no loop button, but here there is. So basically what the loop is about, if you don't know, is that you push this button, then it gets up a little, you take this loop, and then you can put it onto your wrist. It's actually, I've tried it a few times and it works pretty good. So you can like tighten it just so your wrist, so you don't drop the loop string. See, and yeah, that's what, if you guys didn't know, this was for, if you had one of these 32 gigabytes or 64. Yeah, that's like 3 differences, but there's more differences. Okay, let's just take off the loop. Another difference is that on the back, this Apple logo and iPod is nice and shiny and in blue, as in if you got a black one, 32, it would have it in black, but this is a blue one. I wanted blue because blue is my favorite color. So it's nice and shiny, and it also feels nice and like glossy, I think. I don't know the word, but it feels nice and it's shiny. But here it looks like it's just printed and you can't really feel anything other than a rough part. Yep. Another difference is that when you open the iPod up, you go to camera. Okay. You'll notice that it has video, photo, square, and panorama. But since this one's only one-sided camera, FaceTime, it has video, photo, and square. And here there's like this HDR and auto and this switch camera, but there's nothing on the top. It's just there. Yeah. Oh, and but one thing they do have is this button right over here, so you can choose like how you want it in black and white or processed or chrome, whatever. And this one also has it. Oh crap. Yeah. Let me just delete the 2 photos I accidentally took. Okay. And the things they do have in common is one, Siri, of course, so you hold on the home button. Hello Siri, how are you? Never mind. You know it has Siri. The blue one does. And so does the 16 GB model. They both have other features, like, of course, they have the new iOS 7 features, like the control center, I think it's called. You pull that up. Yeah, it has that. That's a lot. Oh, and another thing is that, like the lock and sideways buttons, these are made out of plastic, while this one is made out of metal, I think. Oh, and this one actually feels a bit lighter than this one. Strange, I guess it's the metal. Oh, and if you look closely, I don't think you can see it. Never mind. There would be a scratch right over here, but of course an iPod Touch doesn't come with a scratch. I just scratched it a long time ago. I know you couldn't see the scratch, but it's there. It's small, it's not so big. So, when you get the iPod Touch 16 GB model, it comes with the iPod Touch itself, of course, a charger, earpods, and the instruction guide, some Apple stickers, and some more info. But when you get the 32 or 64 GB model, in my case it's 32, you get the iPod Touch, of course, you get earpods, a charger, just like the other one, and a loop, which is matched for the color of the iPod. So if you got yellow, you'd get a yellow loop. If you would get pink, you'd get a pink loop. If you get red, you'd get a red loop. And if you get blue, you get a blue loop. Yeah, Apple did release 16 GB models, like with colors, which I did mention earlier. But let me tell you something. When I went to get this 32 GB, at first I wanted another 16 because I heard that they had a rear-facing camera and the loop thing. You just have to get the loop accessory separately. But when I went there, they said that it actually has no rear camera or no loop, just like this one. So I was a bit disappointed, and I got the 32. So yeah, I find it weird that they show online that they have a camera and the loop, but you have to get the loop accessory separately. And then when I went to Best Buy, which is where I got it, they don't have that. I mean, I don't get this. So you could like leave me a comment in what actually is it like, because I was really confused that day. Well, actually, I've always wanted a 32 GB model anyway, so I'm happy I got it. Otherwise, I would have to look for the loop accessory, go different places, and then get it after a long time. This way, you just get it all in the box. You can get it over with like that. Yeah. Just let me tell you that from what I know, that if you get the 16 GB model, I'm pretty sure, I'm not completely sure, that you won't get a rear camera or a loop button or the accessory, because it won't be compatible. That's what I know. I'm not completely 100% that I know that, but I'm thinking that I'm right. Anyway, but if you would get a 32 and 64, you get the whole thing. You get the camera, you get the loop button, and you get the loop accessory with it, matching to the color of the iPod, of course. Of course, you could get the loop accessory separately in your choice of color. I'm just saying. Yep. So if you were gonna ask me which iPod Touch should I get the 16 GB or the 32/64? I would say it depends. Firstly, it depends on how much storage you need. And secondly, it depends if you need a camera and a loop. So if you do, you get this 32 or 64. If you don't, you get the 16. Sorry about that. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, Anyway, I'm just I chose the 32 because I wanted the loop, and I wanted a better camera, so yeah. And you know what, I think that when you get the 16 gigabyte, it's supposed to replace the iPod Touch 4th generation. But what's funny is that it doesn't have a camera, so that's like one feature which the iPod Touch 4 does have, which this doesn't. But in this way, it's completely upgraded. It has everything to show that it's upgraded. It has the camera, even a better camera. This is better. And I think it has some autofocus thing, so like, then when your pictures won't come out so blurred and everything. So I would recommend getting the iPod Touch 32 gigabyte 5th generation, and but that's my opinion, because if you want a back camera and you want a loop and you want actually that's all it, which is more. Anyway, if you want that, then you should get the 32 or 64 gigabyte. If you want you just want an iPod Touch 5 because you want the Siri feature and you want a bigger, a taller screen, and you just, yeah, you don't really care about the cameras or the loop, then you should get the 16 gigabyte. Yeah, and by the way, now the iPod Touches are like, I think the 32 gigabytes are 250, and the 16 gigabyte are like 207, I think. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that was my differences comparison between the iPod Touch 5th generation 32 and iPod Touch 5th generation 16. So I hope you enjoyed it. And to see more reviews, comparisons, unboxings, dramas, and other things like that, you could subscribe. So thanks for watching, and if you want, you could share this video.